Nick Darr here with Big Z Media. Hope you enjoy the episodes of Business Over Brew, and pleased to have the Riverbank Growth Association as the sponsor of this program. Our missions are kind of the same, really. We're attempting to educate people about business, foster business in the Riverbend community. The Big Z has been a member of the Growth Association forever, probably back to our inception as a company almost. We have always been members of the Growth Association, have gotten a lot of benefits from it. There's so many networking opportunities you can take advantage of. I've met so many great people just because I've been a member of the Growth Association and taken advantage of all the events that they have, plus just some of the resources they provide you, the relationships you build, just lots of great reasons to join the Growth Association. They do a lot of great things in the community as well. They highlight a different nonprofit every month. So really, they're just invested in the community here, and especially the small business community, which is what Business Over Brew is really all about, which is helping the small business community, because it's so important to any community to have a thriving business community. And the Growth Association has really helped with that. If you want more information about joining or events that might be coming up, they have events all the time that you should definitely take advantage of. I'm going to give you the website to go to. Just head to growthassociation.com. You can get a membership directory. You can see who's taking advantage of it. You can see about the events that are there, learn more about possibly becoming a member. Or if you already are a member, you can find out what's going on with the Growth Association at growthassociation.com. So just again, big thank you to the Riverbend Growth Association for sponsoring Business Over Brew. Welcome to Business Over Brew. My name is Nick Darr. Pleased to be joining you at Great Rivers Tap and Grill inside the Best Western Premier. If you haven't had a chance to eat here, I highly recommend doing so. It's a little well-kept secret here, but awesome pizza, chicken strips, terrific menu. Come check it out, Great Rivers Tap and Grill inside the Best Western Premier. This is Business Over a Brew, the show where we talk business with some of the Riverbend's most interesting and influential business people. And pleased to be joined today by Amy Smith from Riverbank Marketing. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and Riverbank Marketing. We'll start there.
Well, I started in advertising in 1999.
Okay.
Not going to say what age I was when I started there, but at the time I was the administrative assistant, Telegraph Advertising. How may I direct your call?
Mm-hmm.
Jim Schrader was the publisher then. He obviously seen something inside of me that I didn't even know that I had. So that's what escalated the advertising career anyway. I feel like he fine-tuned me to be the salesperson that I am today. And then later in my time there at the Telegraph, Johnny Aguirre was my ad director, and he pretty much fine-tuned me.
Even more?
And made me, yes, and truly gave me a passion for advertising and dealing with other businesses.
One of the things I hear from a lot of people about you, and I think you would describe yourself as definitely persistent, probably tenacious. Where do you think that came from?
Johnny Aguirre, Jim Schrader,
Yeah.
Being a single
So
mom
it wasn't
for
something that you would
years
say that you grew up that way, or
no, believe it or not, I
grew
was
into
actually
it?
pretty shy before I started at the Telegraph.
That is a little hard to
I
believe.
came out of my shell, obviously came out of my shell a little bit. So I guess if I have the confidence that what I have to offer is going to work for that business, that makes me even more persistent than I am in general. But I believe that's just part of my personality now.
Right. So you've been in the advertising business for a long time, 24, 25 years.
Yes, sir.
Talk about the decision to open your own business and start Riverbank Marketing.
Well, direct mail had always been of interest to me. I got to sample that when I was the ad director at the Edwardsville Intelligencer. At the time, it wasn't as popular as it is now, and people still kind of disbelief that direct mail works, or that they think that it only works if you're trying to reach a more mature audience, and that simply just isn't true. I had done my homework and knew what I wanted to do if I ever had the guts or the timing to do it. I knew that I was going to do something with direct mail, but the two publications just kind of came along throughout a family discussion, really. Like, what do we want to do with this business idea? So that's how Quality Living and The Social were born, was listening to the input of my family.
Right.
Their support was important. I need a little more flexibility in life. Your 8-to-5 workday really doesn't exist anymore for our industry.
No.
Kind of got to work when you can and work at odd hours that other people sometimes aren't even awake yet, just to get the job done.
Right. So there's pros and cons I found of,
Sure.
it's nice being your own boss, but there's a lot of people talk about freedom, and I joke, I said, no, it's less freedom probably owning
Sometimes,
your own
yes.
place because you
Yes.
you are never, rarely can you get away from it, I feel
Right.
like.
It's hard to shut it off no matter what you do. The good thing is with devices now, I
Sure.
can work from wherever I'm at. I did have to keep the phone out of my hand when I was in Mexico and truly step outside the box.
Right.
But as a small business owner, you really can't ever let go of that. Kind of take a breather, but you
Right.
can't step away from it.
And I don't like to personally. I would rather, if there's an issue, I would rather deal with it as it comes along, even if I'm out of the office or on
Right.
vacation. I'd rather just deal with it than have it waiting for me when I get back.
Absolutely. Sometimes you need a vacation from your vacation.
Yes, right.
So
Yeah.
it's better to deal with it as it happens and have it all pile up and then it become total chaos for you, I think.
What the statistics are pretty uh, sobering when you look at success of small business owners just nationwide and what it takes to be successful. I've always thought that, not a lot of businesses go out of business because they have too many customers. Some do, but so I always have said, the biggest piece that I think advertisers and business owners miss is just the focus on the marketing side of things. Where do you think business owners maybe get it wrong, or what are they missing in terms of how to acquire new business?
I think that all small businesses throughout my career are hesitant to spend.
Mm-hmm.
They're happy with the activity and the sales that are coming in their door right now. And then when that churns through and they just don't want to invest or don't feel like they truly need to invest for the long-term effect.
Right.
They're busy right now. They're kind of taken for granted that they're going to continue to be that busy. And then when it filters off, they really don't have the funds to then advertise. So they kind of miss the boat there a little bit.
Right.
I also think that all businesses have to have that right marketing mix. And so many people rely solely on social media, and social media has worked great for me. I'm sure
Right.
it's worked great for
Sure.
you, but it can't be the only thing that you do. If
Right.
that is the case, your doors aren't going to be open forever, and you have to figure out what that right marketing mix is. And I think for every industry, it's a different mix.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the underspend. I think is such an issue, and we're not just saying that because that's how we make
Right.
money.
Right.
But I think Small Business Administration, recommendations are anywhere from 5 to 10% of your gross. I haven't met a lot of business owners that spend 5 to 10% of their gross on their advertising budget, but the ones I have, they're pretty successful.
Right.
But it is a leap of faith, certainly, to
It definitely is.
to invest
Investing in
that. Yeah,
yourself
right.
is a little bit of a risk and takes some thought process before you initiate it too. That's for sure.
Right.
I'm experiencing that now more than ever as a small business owner myself.
Yeah.
I do have to spend. I do have to do these things if I want this momentum to be here later for me.
That's a great point, and you mentioned it too earlier. Just it's not about getting customers to your door today. That's not how it works. It's going to
Right.
be 6 months down the road, 9 months down the road, a year down the road. You're going to need to keep people coming in your door. And I always say, McDonald's doesn't stop advertising,
Right.
and they have plenty of people
Right.
coming. People know about McDonald's by now, so
Right.
it's about reminding them that they need to do business with you in some cases too. So, but it is something I think it's just misunderstood. Like you said, with the social media piece of it, valuable tool, no question about it. A lot of people using it and getting great results. But I think sometimes too, we fixate on where we're going to advertise and don't spend enough time talking about what we're going to say too.
Right.
The message and the creative is also very important too. And you've
Right.
done that for a lot of years too.
I think that social media is easy. Click, click, boom, your post is out.
Sure.
Instagram, Snap, whatever it is that you're using. TikTok, I understand, is the way too, but I think I'm a little too old
We're too
school
old
for
that anyway.
TikTok.
Yeah,
But
right.
I think a lot of people rely on that social media platform because it's easy.
Mhm.
They don't have to give a whole lot of thought to creativity of what they're posting or what they're putting out there. And true advertising takes a little bit more planning than that.
Right. You mentioned the ease of it. I think it's getting tougher too. Organic, regular, just posting is not having the impact that it did. So there's a lot of strategies that you need to.
Right.
It's hard to stay on top of everything. So it does definitely make some sense, I think, to work with a professional on it. But because it's ever changing.
It can be so overwhelming too.
Yeah.
Trying to make that decision and find out which route you need to go can be overwhelming. So
Right.
hopefully clients trust me, and I feel like they do trust me
Sure.
to advise them on what they do need to do or take that next step, not just social media.
It's amazing your background and mine. It doesn't feel like I've been doing it that long to me, but it's been about the same amount of time as you, almost 25 years. The changes in just the last 10 years
Exactly.
have been, I mean, when, back when we probably first started, we were concerned about, yellow page budgets and why you shouldn't advertise in the yellow pages.
Absolutely.
And now we don't run across that very often anymore,
No,
do
we don't have that discussion too often
Right.
anymore, that's for sure.
But there's about 25 more competitors now than there used to be.
Absolutely.
Because of social media. So it's definitely changed the landscape quite a bit. So
For sure.
what motivates you in business to be successful? What are some things that when things are tough that you can lean on and power through?
Well, happy clients are definitely motivating. That positive review or a business referral just kind of makes you stronger and stronger for each day out in the sales field, so to say.
Right.
That process itself has changed so much since COVID. We won't talk about the C word too much.
That's good, yeah.
But the days of having 10 or 15 sit-down appointments one-on-one like what you and I are doing right now, that's a struggle and that's a challenge because people are hesitant. They stepped back when the shelter-at-home order was in place. Now they want to do what's easy, which is an email or even a text message, which is kind of surprising to me.
Right.
But I'm old school. I want to sit down next to you and not do that. So that's pretty challenging for me.
Yeah. That was a big adjustment. That's been a big adjustment for us because I'm with you. I used to think you can't just sit around and email clients all day and expect to get, well, actually you can now.
Well, you can, right.
They do respond to texts and emails where it used to be, I think, I was always, you got to go see them. If you're not seeing them in person, then, we're probably missing the boat. But now COVID definitely changed
They're
things.
hesitant.
Yeah.
I mean, people are hesitant and they'd rather have the information emailed, I think, so that they can read it and digest it later, especially I deal mostly totally with small businesses. So most of those small businesses operate that.
Mm-hmm.
So taking time away from them, they just can't do. So they'd rather have it in an email or even a text where they can read it and absorb it later on and then make that decision later.
Right.
You can ask 200 times if I can sit down with you, but if their schedule doesn't allow it, it's just not going to happen. So I miss those days. I'm going to call those the good old days.
Right?
Yeah,
when we just walked around and saw people. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What has surprised you most being a business owner these last few years that maybe you didn't expect? You probably have thought about being a business owner for a while, but what are some things that maybe surprised you when you struck out on your own?
Well, my idea for the direct mail projects that I'm doing have been in my brain for about 5 years. Kind of kicking myself for not doing it then because I think I launched it in a rougher time for consumers when I actually finally did do it.
Right.
But to figure out what marketing mix is best for me has probably been a big challenge. I'm on 94.3 and I love that. And I know I need to be doing other things as well too. So I'm trying to trickle that all in there, but that is a challenge to figure out what my mix is.
Sure.
94.3.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I see what you did there. How do you organize everything? Because it is, it's when you're on your own, it's not easy. You got to have a plan and a system. So
I don't have an assistant to say, hey, take over on this for me today or help me out with this. It's really all about just planning my time, try to plan my whole work week in advance, knowing where I need to go, who I need to see, who I need to call or text or whatever that is, and staying true to that schedule and not getting off track a little bit because it's just me. I don't have anyone else to rely on.
Right.
My husband, Joe, does help quite a bit. He helps me with delivery. He helps my, keep me calm, so to say, when I get overwhelmed. We laugh at home because he's got a couple different titles. Like he's IT, he's human resources, he's staff psychologist from time to time, but I'm not to the point yet where I can bring on extra people. But I do
Sure.
expect to be doing that before the end of the year this year.
Right.
And then maybe be able to delegate more of those things and not put that pressure all on just me.
Talk a little bit about your two publications and some of the differences between
Okay.
Quality Living and The Social.
Quality Living was the first book that I launched. Within the first 2 weeks of Riverbank being a true LLC, legal organization, I didn't have a sample to show anyone.
Right.
I just had a vision.
Mm-hmm.
So I was calling clients. That was, a little bit pre-COVID, a little bit of the crazy stuff anyway.
Right.
Just having to share my ideas with them and give them a visual of what I was trying to do. So Quality Living, they're both direct mail. I target higher income households through every door direct mail. Pick those postal routes based on income.
Mm-hmm.
The Quality Living is anything to do with your home improvement, finance, health and fitness, all that kind of stuff. And then the Social was actually suggested to me by a couple clients. You need to do something for the dining and entertainment industry.
Right.
So that's how the Social got born, was other people suggesting that we needed something like that on this side of the river. The days of RFT, Sauce Feast,
Right.
Those publications are great. Those publications are moving to more of an online platform. So I feel like
Sure.
I offer two different options on this side of the river that they could not have gotten before I launched Riverbank.
Sure.
Pretty proud of where I'm at with that on 2 years.
Yeah.
March was my second anniversary.
Congratulations.
And looking to grow distribution. Plans to launch into Edwardsville, Glen Carbon are, in
Great.
my wheelhouse. Like to get into Jerseyville or Granite City a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever plan on crossing the river because my whole, my motto is keep the spend in the river bend. And
Right.
that's exactly what I intend to do.
How have you gone about intentionally fostering and maintaining all the relationships that you've built over the years?
Well, I try to treat every client the same, whether they spend, back in the day, $200 a month or $2,000 a
Right.
month. Everyone's just as important as the other guy. I truly do care about these businesses. I'm not here to sell them a one-time offer and then walk out the door. I'm nurturing relationships. I'm building relationships. And hopefully I'm developing long-term partners in business. I expect to have at least 10 more years in the workforce. And I want to make sure that they're 10 years that I'm proud of.
Well, here's to having great success and maybe being able to retire earlier than that, huh?
Wouldn't that be great?
Amy, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me,
If
Nick.
people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
I have a website, riverbank-marketing.com. You can reach me at 618-433-9137. And you can find me on Facebook as well. Haven't initiated too much other social media just yet.
TikTok is on the way, right? Amy Smith TikTok videos.
I'm not
Check
so
them
sure
out.
about that.
Thanks for
Cheers.
coming on. Appreciate it.